Welcome to the Property Corner with myself, Rowan Alexander. Okay, so welcome back to the First Time Home Buyers series. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of distinguishing between your needs and your desires. Up until now, we've been focusing predominantly on preparation for becoming a homeowner. And this will be that final step in preparing, before you actually go about looking for property. And it's important that you start drawing up a list of your needs. There's no problem in actually listing your desires too, but the most important thing is to actually differentiate between the two. Your list of needs should be your non-negotiable items. These should be the things that if the property does not meet that criteria, you automatically eliminate them. As you'll see as we start going into later steps of this series, you'll see that we actually start giving you advice and the easiest way to go about it is actually through the process of elimination. So you're going to have access to a huge amount of property on sale. And then to navigate that way, we'll follow the process of elimination. So in setting up this list of needs, that's going to be the basis for a whole mass of elimination. So when you consider that list of needs, it's important that you not only look at your current needs, but maybe try and anticipate what your needs will be going forward. We see it often, young people making decisions in purchasing property, but not necessarily accounting for family planning or the need where they may have to house an elderly family member. So yes, we understand that it's not always easy to predict these sort of things, but I think you should use your rationale where you're at and try and really set up a clear list of needs, and then add to that anticipation of what you see might be changing in the next 5 to 7 years. Traditionally, homeowners were staying in homes for 20 to 30 years, but today we're seeing that average sort of turnaround time being 7 years. And that's why I'm encouraging you to look beyond your current needs and maybe look into the medium term, and if that's possible, to incorporate that. However, that should always be secondary to your primary needs that are evident right now. Ideas and things that you could put onto this list of your needs that should be non-negotiable would be the number of bedrooms, the number of garages, proximity to your work location. Now, these are things which fundamentally, if the property doesn't tick that box, you can easily eliminate them. Going beyond that, considerations is things like areas. What sort of lifestyle different areas can encourage and accommodate. And then also, if you have family planning, try looking at schools. Today in South Africa, schools have become a very big motivator for area-driven purchases. Purchases are looking at catchment areas for schools. Schools are full to the brim. And the schools have tightened their regulations as to where they actually take children from. So for that reason, schooling has become a very prominent factor in decision making, along with, as I've mentioned, that proximity to work. Spending time in traffic, I think the past number of years have shown us that there's ways of being productive without spending a huge amount of time in traffic. And if you can locate yourself in an environment where you are close to either your workspace or your support network, there's huge benefits in doing that. And then another need that should not be discarded at this point in time is all the work that we've done up until now in establishing what budget you have. That's going to be another big watershed where you can actually eliminate a huge amount of properties that don't fall within your budget. So don't forget to list that on your list of needs. So while I know you want to have the biggest garage and you want to have a lovely patio with a big briar area and you want that pool right from the start and the big garden, remember that these aren't necessarily needs. These are desires, and they should be listed too, but they should be listed as a list of negotiables. In every property, there's going to be a trade-off, and you need to prioritize which of those desires would actually be most important on that priority list. And this will also help you further navigate beyond your needs, the desires, and when you're comparing a number of properties, you can compare that list. The needs, as we've said, are non-negotiable, but the desires would become the negotiable part of actually, landing up in a particular property. So it's important to track them too, because if you find two properties, the same value, same area, what's going to be the differentiating factor? It's the ability to service those desires. And be sure not to mix the two. We see it very often where things that would actually be desires, which can be catered for at a later point in time, are found on people's necessity and needs list. We've given examples of things like patios, swimming pools, an additional playroom, things like that. While you might not need them right now, they very easily can be added to the property at a later point in time. But it's difficult uprooting from one area to the other because you have incorrectly identified a location where you'd like to be. So with this in mind, you'll now be able to start your search for the ideal property. And in the next episode, we'll be dealing with how you actually start that search. And you'll be empowered and you'll be informed as to how to go about that. We know how much you qualify for. You've ensured that your credit record is good. You've set up this list of needs and you've set up the list of desire. Now we can actually go about helping you find that ideal home.